Hey Ted.
What's your favourite service station and why? Never eat shredded wheat.
It's just too small.
That's what she said. A soft yoke.
Struggling to think of service stations that I really don't like.
On the road again.
Exactly.
Ow, fuck it.
I'm going to the toilet. I'll be right back.
Welcome to the Tuesday Show with CJ and Ted. Hey CJ.
Hey Ted.
What's your favourite service station and why?
That's a great question. What are we talking? Motorway service station?
We are.
Okay.
Do you know what? No. I'm going to open it out. Any service station.
Like the one that services my car when it needs a service.
Motorway service stations.
You know what? It's been so long since I've been on the motorway for anything that I don't really know anymore. I guess I was quite fond, if ever I had to drive to Wales, I was quite fond of, I want to say, Strensham Services. Or maybe Michaelwood, which is on the M5, both of which are on the M5. Strensham, if I remember correct, I think it's Strensham. I might have to Google it and find out. Whichever the one is that is just before the junction with the M50, which takes you down through northeastern Wales down to the M4.
Right.
And then Michaelwood's a bit further down the M5. That was quite a nice one. Although there's a nice farm shop one on the M6 right up by the border of Glasgow.
Really?
T-Bay Services, is it?
Yeah, I think I may have heard of that.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know whether you might have touched upon one of them, which is Gloucester.
Yeah,
because that's up, down that way.
Yeah.
Gloucester Services is probably. It's always certainly is my favourite.
Okay.
Why? Because that's a nice one. It looks good. Mm-hmm. It's got a nice farm shop.
Yep.
And it's got a restaurant and other bits and pieces. Yeah, it's a nice stop.
Yeah, Gloucester's quite a good one.
I'll tell you another thing. It makes sense as well. What really annoys me is when you go to a service station and as soon as you come off the motorway regulations, the signposting is terrible, and it's always different.
Oh yeah,
it's like, well, I'm following, and cars, only cars, nothing but cars, or not lorries. What is that mean? What? Not lorries, but not car. Left, right, or is an arrow, or it says turn left, arrow right. So and cars, well, all vehicles really, come at quite some speed off the motorway, up a slip road. You can't leave these things to chance. You want to know which way to go.
Why aren't all slip roads uphill? When you come off of a motorway, why do they not all go uphill to help you slow down? And then when you join the motorway, all downhill to help you accelerate to match the speed of the traffic on the motorway. Why is that? I mean, surely that just makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Also, the other thing is when it's downhill, slip road, you can't. You've got the crest of a hill, so if there's traffic on, because usually you come off a slip road onto a roundabout. In that sort of scenario, so you're coming over the crest of a hill. Mm-hmm. You can be coming very, very quickly towards lots of stopped traffic in front of you, and you're coming off the motorway, and you're going down the hill. Mm-hmm.
So if every exit off of the motorway was uphill, you'd have better control over deceleration towards said roundabout or traffic lights or whatever happens to be there.
I agree. You would imagine that when somebody's using a slip road, that they would actually accelerate. But so many times, you get people who dilly-dally and mess about when they're coming on a slip road onto the motorway or onto a dual carriageway.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming, even if they're coming down a hill, they're still going at sort of 40 miles an hour or something like that. And the traffic's pelting along. And then they stop. In fact, I tell you what, another thing, there's this is just one example. There's a petrol station up the road on the A45. Never eat shredded wheat. If you're coming west, and there, it's got a little slip road. It's not very big, but it's a slip road. And the amount of times that you get cars, especially if you're behind it, you stop at the petrol station and you come in, and they'll stop. They won't use the slip road, which means that they'll be actually in the same direction as the traffic, and they'll be able to quickly look to see whether anything's coming. Instead, they stop and stay there until there's a gap. And the traffic's moving at such a rate, that's why there's a slip road. That's why they can't do that, because when they do get out, they're going to go straight out into the road and try and build up speed, but it's not going to be enough.
It's difficult, because I know the one you're talking about. It is a very small slip road, and actually there's a very poorly placed, I don't know what you call it, board with all the fuel prices on, and all the services that particular service station offers.
Yeah.
It's very poorly placed in that if you are positioned, it doesn't matter what position you're in, you can't actually really see down the road that clearly because there's a big frickin' board in the way. And because of how the road is angled, because the road kind of sweeps around to the left, you can't see down behind that, we just can't see behind the board. So you only actually really get a small section that you can actually see, and I think people just haven't really figured out the best way of dealing with that particular entrance.
I think a lot of people haven't figured out slip roads and what they're for and how to deal with them.
I mean, a small slip road like that, I actually agree people should stop. If you can't see, you need to stop to get a better look or to try and find a better look. It's not long enough to get a good run at it to then be able to merge onto the into the traffic.
No, but if you're on it,
by matching their speed.
You see, basically, if you're the only person on it, that's fine because you get on that slip road, you can creep onto the slip road. It's not like you can't do that, and then you can see. Then you'll be able to see.
Yeah, but it's too small to treat it as any other slip road.
Well, even if
it's
just
too small.
Yeah.
She said.
Yeah, can't complain for you, is it? But even normal slip roads, you still get people who are messing about. Or they just come at the same speed as the rest of the traffic. And if you're you're in lane 1 because there's other things on the road coming past you, you're in lane 1, and you've got some idiot on the slip road who then somehow thinks that they have right of way. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Speed up or slow down. Get with the program.
Yeah, that's it. Pick one. The nice dotted white line between you and the main carriageway is a give way marker, which means that you should actually reduce your speed to then slip in behind. Yeah,
that's what she said.
Anyway, back to the initial question. I did Google it. Gloucester Services is the one I was thinking of, which joins the M5 to the M50.
Okay.
Was just before that junction.
Yeah.
So you literally, as you come out of the services, you basically just stay in the left lane and you end up going down the slip road to join the M50. But actually, T-Bay Services is the one that I quite like, which is, again, it's a farm shop up the M6. My problem is, it's expensive. It's really expensive in that particular service station. I'm just going to Google when that is, actually. I'm sure it is like just south of the border.
Well, Gloucester, I mean, the thing is, I won't tend to go to many others anyway, because if you're on a journey and you've got a favourite service station, you don't need to stop at every service station. I don't need to stop every 16 miles, so I'm not going to do that. But if I'm driving down to Cornwall or back, wherever possible, depending on fuel, that's the one I'll stop at. The thing I tend to stop for at Gloucester is the Scotch eggs.
Yeah, homemade Scotch eggs.
I mean, they've got like a soft yolk, almost runny, and they do one which is pork and black pudding.
Okay.
So the surround is pork and black pudding, That's great. And
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I've just driven up from Cornwall, in fact, so I've stocked up. I bought 2 of those, another type of Scotch egg, and some sort of venison pie. So
stay there, I'm on my way.
Yeah, so I'm rather pleased with my purchases, but that's not bad going.
No, very nice. Yeah, no, I like. The thing is, as long as a motorway service station is clean, I'm generally happy. It's like I've been to some and they're just disgusting. Like you go to like the toilets or whatever, or just the general feel and upkeep of the place is just like, this place is shit.
Yeah.
I tend to avoid them, and I'm trying to think of some examples now. I think there's one on the M1 up near Leeds. Can't remember what it's called now, but it was a bit,
Yeah.
Couple on the M4 that are like that. But I wouldn't want to stop there ever again if I didn't have to. Kiel isn't bad. Stafford, I think Stafford Services was a bit. Watford Gap, I don't like Watford Gap Services.
No.
No, it just doesn't. No, not very big either.
Yeah.
Watford Gap. But then again, if I was leaving early to say drive to Scotland or even Wales when I went down there regularly, it was a good stopping point if I left early in the morning to grab a McDonald's breakfast on the company dime, of course. Never on my own. But yeah, struggling to think of service stations that I really don't like. Apart from maybe
love them all.
Yeah, like I say, as long as it's clean, I'm okay. I like Beaconsfield Services. God, this is a dull conversation, isn't it? I like Beaconsfield Services actually. On the M40. I do miss travelling though. Actually, I miss travelling for work. I used to really enjoy being out on the road.
On the road again.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always nice to go on a long trip, on a bit of a road trip. Get some time to yourself.
Yeah,
sit back, listen to some podcasts.
I think that was one of the main reasons I really enjoyed it. It was, although yes, things needed doing in a certain amount of time. I'm kind of also working to my own schedule. It's that like I say, I've driven up to Aberdeen and back in a day before, and it's that they'd always be like, well, as long as you obviously get there before they close. And it's like, well, yeah, if I left my house at 8 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't get there until 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Which is which while it's okay, I'd rather leave at 4 a.m. Get there before midday, do what I have to do, come home and still be home at a fairly reasonable time.
Yeah.
Even though they would offer to like pay for hotels and stuff, I'd be like, nah, that's all right, I'll just drive home. Not a problem. But it's nice because it's that I know that for that, on a journey like that, the time is more or less my own. Yeah. I'll get there whenever I get there, and like you say, I can listen to music or podcasts or a number of podcasts in 14 hours worth of driving. Yeah, I used to really, really quite enjoy it. I do miss it a lot, actually. It just doesn't pay very well. That's the only problem. That's the problem that I've got. I'm never going to earn a fortune driving up and down the country.
No.
I'm never going to, become rich by doing that. So,
yeah, very true.
Yeah, unfortunately, that kind of goes by the wayside after a while.
Yeah. Unless you're a tanker driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your dream job?
Pilot. Commercial airline pilot. Those people make a fortune. But it's not all about the money. I've always been an avid fan of aviation, and I've always wanted to fly. I'm just not smart enough. Or fit enough. But,
But apart from that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, apart from those two things, I could be a pilot.
The thing about being a pilot is the only thing that puts me off about that, or I suppose anything that involves going somewhere very quickly, is that every now and again something can happen. So whether it's an air crash or whether it's a train crash or any of those sorts of things, which is fine if you're a general member of the public and you're occasionally get a plane to go on holiday or whatever it may be. Then I think, well, hang on. If you're always in a plane, your chances of being in a plane crash increase dramatically.
But you can say that about drivers, though, can't you? If you spend your entire life driving, your chances of being involved in a vehicle collision of some description increases exponentially.
Yeah.
My chances of, touch wood, of being in a collision are, not that much because I don't really drive that far. But then again, they always say the most accidents occur within 2 miles of the home. So,
and that's just in the trousers.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Isn't it weird? I mean, no, hang on. I don't know where I'm going to... when you need to go and you're on your way home?
Yeah.
How it just gets worse. I mean, ultimately, yes, of course it gets worse because you're getting closer and closer to needing to go.
Yeah.
But when you're just turning the corner, it's critical because I think there's some sort of, you kind of relax a little bit because you're getting that close. Like the amount of times that, it's been sort of real touch and go at the door.
Yep.
And then you always drop your keys.
I hear you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's that, like you say, it's almost, you're fine, and you could be fine for a couple of hours. You're aware that at some point you're going to need to go, but for a couple of hours, you're like, no, that's okay. And then, like you say, the closer towards home you get, the more desperate it becomes.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, you pull up on your driveway or outside your front door or whatever, and then, like you say, suddenly it's an emergency. You have to go.
Yeah.
And the same applies to motorway services as well. You're like, no, I'm okay, that's fine. And then you're like, right, actually, the next services I'll pull over. And then you see the sign, it says mile away. You're like, that's cool, I can make it there. And as you're on the slip road coming off the motorway, all of a sudden, it's an emergency and you have to go. And you're either power walking because you're clenching your butt cheeks together as you're walking towards the toilets and you look like a total weirdo, or you're running there because you're not going to make it otherwise. It's just mental.
Yeah.
But it's always like you say, when you're literally a mile away from home, all of a sudden you're just like, oh shit, I've really got to go.
That reminds me of the Family Guy, the alternate universes episode. We go, this is a universe where everybody needs to poo right now.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah.
It's weird, like when I'm out driving, doing the takeaway deliveries at the weekends. It's weird because, it's that I know I need to go at some point. I need to go for a piss, but until I'm actually in a situation where I know I can, I'm actually okay. I know I can hold it, but it's like I'll end up going to KFC or Burger King or something where I know I'm going to be waiting for a few minutes. All of a sudden, it's that I've got to go, right now.
Yeah.
I'll go in, I'll announce myself, I'll be like, I'm here for this order number. They'll be like, yeah, it's a couple of minutes. I'll be like, cool, I'm going to the toilet. I'll be right back. I went to a Pizza Hut delivery place the other day. It's literally just a delivery, so you go in and collect orders and that's it. There's no sit down eating or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I asked the guy, he kept me waiting for like a good 5-10 minutes. And I went, look, can I use your facilities while I'm here? And he went, no, it's staff only. I went, come on, dude, I'm a delivery driver. I was like, there's nowhere else to go. I just need to. He was like, no, I'm really sorry, we can't. He went, but you can walk down to Subway, which is like, a good 3 or 4 minute walk away. Goes, you can go in there and pretend to be a customer. I was like, I'm not doing that. So in the end, I was like, it's fine, I can hold it. I wasn't actually desperate at that point, but I was like, I'll just freaking hold it, whatever. But I was like, seriously, I'm not just a customer. I'm a takeaway driver. Help me out a little bit. You know that I'm spending my whole evening out on the road.
Yeah.
delivering food for you or other businesses. But, there's a fleet of us. There's an army of us that are doing this. And most of us don't stop to take a break because, obviously if you don't work, you don't get any money. So we're not stopping for a break. So while you're making us wait, at least let us use your bloody toilet. Come on.
Yeah, then it becomes tempting just to stand there and let go.
I don't think I'll ever do that. I don't think no, I can see myself purposefully doing that. Excuse me.
That was The Tuesday Show.
Get in touch with us. All the links are in the description. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.